lot of people actually believe that for you to be wealthy in life, you need to be lucky. This pattern, this concept, this idea does not work with money. For you to be able to be rich in life, you need to understand the language of money, because money also has its own language, and money is actually a spirit. It is actually controlled by the spirit of mammon. So you need to understand the dynamics of money. Money actually works for you to be rich at the end of the day. So in this video, we're going to be talking about how to actually win with money, and why billionaires are thinking differently from every other person in the society. So join me as we dive into this topic now. You see, there's actually a proverb that says that big heart, no cattle. Big heart, no cattle. Now, what does that mean? You see, when you say big heart, no cattle, we're talking about people that actually try to portray, what they are actually not in the society. They try to portray the fact that they are actually rich, that they are actually wealthy, that they are actually surplus in society, that they have enough money in the society. But on the other hand too, a lot of them live on credit card, a lot of them live on from one debt to the other, just to maintain that social status in the society and be pretending to be rich. So if you hear that word, big heart, no cattle, it means for somebody that's actually pretending to be rich, but is not actually rich. So what can you do? How can you win with money? When it comes to money, how can you actually win with money? We're going to be discussing this shortly, so that because of our time, and we're going to go into why billionaires actually think differently from every other person in the society. So the first thing you need to know is that you need to have a plan, which is called a budget. You see, for you to win with money, you need to have a plan. It's like you are going to a farm without no cutlass, no hoe, or farm implement. How do you go to work at the end of the day? Because at the end of the day, the work is going to be cumbersome, it's going to be tedious, it's going to be highly challenging, and you might not be able to produce enough or get enough at the end of the day, because you are not following the principle of farming. So for you to actually win with money, you must have a plan. And that's why in my videos, I always emphasize the fact that you need to have what I call savings, investment, and spending. Savings, investment, and spending. Savings is the amount of money you actually keep aside for emergency. Then when you talk about spending, it's actually the money that you use on your daily basis. Then your investment is actually the money that you actually set aside for your future, so that you can actually grow it at the end of the day. So for you to be able to make money and work with money and win with money, you must have what I call a workable budget. So your budget must be functional, your budget must be active, and your budget must also be proactive. And you must be disciplined with this budget by following this budget into two and making sure that you are able to achieve your purpose at the end of the day. So number one factor is for you to actually have what I call a budget. Then number two on how to actually win with money is that you need to get out of debt. You see, this problem is very popular in our society. It's popular all over the place, even in the advanced countries. You see that a lot of people actually live in debt. And what are these debts? A lot of people go for loans, they go for credit cards, they go for buy now, pay later, they go for what I call easy buy, and the rest of them. Now, when you are actually, engaged in all these things, easy buy, buy now, pay later, loans, and the rest of them, you are actually making other people to be very, very rich. So you are making or creating surplus for other people, and you are making yourself to be poorer. Because when you actually go for this buy now, pay later, easy buy, and the rest of them, you are actually going to be paying interest, and that interest you are paying is the surplus value for the people giving you the money at the end of the day. So they will motivate you, they will encourage you to go for loans, to come and get easy buy, buy now, pay later. But when you do all these things, you are actually going to pay by paying what I call the interest. And when you also default at the end of the day, you are going to pay a lot of money. So for you to actually win with money, you must pay up all your debt, your loan debt, your easy buy, your buy now, pay later, and every form of debt that you are owing. You need to get out of it and pay up everything. Now, then another thing, which is number 3, on how to win with money, is that you live less than what you earn. You live less than what you earn. That is the third one. Now, what do I mean by living less than what you earn? When you're talking about living less than what you earn, you're saying that you should cut your coat according to your size. That is just the simple fact. You should cut your coat according to your size. What are we saying there? Avoid buying liabilities, or invest more on assets which will create wealth for you as opposed to liabilities. So what you need to do here is that you need to streamline your budget. You need to make sure that you do not exceed your budget. You need to make sure that whatever you are going to get or you are going to buy with your money is something that is so important to you, something that you actually really need, that is so indispensable to you. Those are the things that you're going to actually spend your money upon. And now, when you are buying these things, this is the fact. When you are buying these things, you must buy them with your money, not with easy buy, not with buy now, pay later, or not with loans. You must always buy them with your money. Because people will tell you that it's a societal norm, it's a concept, it's a general way people actually do things, that you can actually buy things with credit card and the rest of it. When you are buying them, you are actually creating holes in your pocket. So if you don't want to create holes in your pocket, then you need to live less than what you earn. That is, you live below your earning. You live below your earning. While you are actually living below your earning, you are actually investing your money and actually saving your money. Now, the fourth concept on how to win with money is what I call, you need to save some money to invest. You see, saving money for investment is the surest way to wealth creation. So if you want to create wealth in 2025, while we are in 2024 as well, and as we're moving to 2025, you need to make sure that you need to save some money. You need to invest some money. While you're actually investing some money, you are making some money. Because money is actually a spirit, and money does not like to be stagnant. Money likes to be working. Money likes to be moving around. Money likes to be put into operation. So if you're saving your money in the bank, you are creating money for the banks. You are creating wealth for the banks. Because your bank, it will give your money out to other people and charge interest for those money and actually collect it from them. So, or borrow to them. So at the end of the day, your bank is making money while you are not making money. And that's why I always tell people, you need to invest money, not putting your money in the bank. If you are going to put your money in the bank, because I also have money in the bank, what you will do is that the money is going to be in the bank is the money for your spending, and you also set aside part of your account for money for savings, for emergency, because life actually happens. So you need to learn on how to save your money for investment. You need to learn how to actually invest your money and grow wealth for yourself over the years, because actually what I call a decade of sacrifice. So when you continuously and consistently build this concept and idea, you can be very sure that you are going to win with money. You will ask yourself, why do billionaires think differently? What did they do that actually make them to think differently? Most of them do not come with the idea of wealth from heaven, or they do not come with the idea as an heavenly gift. They actually learn this concept of money creation, of creating what we call compound interest for themselves at the end of the day, because they actually listening to videos, they read a lot of books, and they also do a lot of things that actually make them to be thinking differently from an average man on the street. You see, there are three classes of people in the society. We have those that are actually at the up, then we have the middle class, and we have the lower class. You see, the three of them, they think differently. They don't have the same level of thinking. Their level of thinking, their IQ is different from each other. Now, for those that are actually on the lower level, the way they think is this: once they have the money, they spend the money. They have the money, they spend the money. That is for the lower class. So, if you see most of these lower class people, or those that are actually poor, once they get the money, they spend the money immediately. So there is no room for savings, there's no room for investment. They don't even have an idea about what investment is all about or what savings is all about, you see. So for the lower class, they get the money, they spend the money. For the middle class, they actually use their money to fund their luxurious life. They use their money to fund what I call ostentatious life. A kind of a life where they actually use credit card, buy now, pay later, easy buy, and loans and the rest of them to actually fund their lifestyle. So they always want to increase their credit rating. When they increase their credit rating, it will always increase the amount of money they can actually borrow from the easy buy and the rest of them. Then apart from that, you see, the middle class, they also have what? Love or taste for ostentatious goods. So they use this money to buy these goods to look, rich, to look wealthy, to look okay in the society. So they buy expensive cars, they go on expensive vacations, and they also do some, sometimes they go to restaurants to buy expensive food just to look rich, just to pretend to be rich, but they are not actually rich because their money is actually funded by credit cards and the rest of them. Now, for the rich people, they think different. I mean, for the upper class, they actually believe that when they earn the money is supposed to create more money. Money is supposed to create more money. So what they do is that they actually put the money into operations to make more money for them by actually investing the money. So why billionaires actually think differently in the society? I'll quickly talk about them now. Number one, they dream big. You see, billionaires dream big. Unlike the average man on the street that dreams small, he always limited himself. He does not believe in his potentials. Does not believe that he can actually go beyond the level at which he is. He limits himself in everything that he does. But for the big men or for the billionaires, they think big, they aspire big, they want to achieve, something big in life. So they always have a big dream. So the question is, how do you dream? Do you dream big or you dream small? Do you see yourself as a midget or you see yourself as a giant? Even when you see yourself as a giant, you must work towards the actualization of that giant that you see yourself. So if you see yourself as a giant, you must work towards achieving that idea of a giant. Because giants actually acquire big things. They don't go for small things. So the big men, the billionaires, the affluent people in the society, those that are actually rich in society, they have what we call big dreams. They dream big, they don't dream small. So start thinking big today and not thinking small. So then number two, why billionaires actually think differently is that they invest in what I call time. You see, billionaires actually invest in time. They believe that everything that they have to accomplish in life has to do with time. And that is why they don't joke with their time. You hardly see a billionaire, talking recklessly, doing all sorts of things that does not make or add any value to his life. They always do things that will add value to their time because time is very, very important to them. They believe that time is very short. And that's why some people always say that even the 24 hours is not even enough for them. Like I, for one, 24 hours is not even enough for me because I have a lot of things I have to achieve within a day. And sometimes I don't sleep in time. I have to do a lot of work to actually accomplish what I actually want to achieve at the end of the day. So they invest in what? In time. So start investing in time today. Now, apart from that, I also talk about what they call money and return. Apart from that, time, money and return. So money, time, and returns are very, very important as a surplus to what I'm talking about. So what are we saying there? Time is very essential. So for you to actually be wealthy and for you to be surplus and for you to be rich in society, you need to invest in time. And that's why I'm saying that you need to start investing in the time. In time, you need to start investing early so that you can actually go a long way through the decade of sacrifice and achieve what you actually wanted to achieve. Then number two is what I call money. So for you to be rich or to think differently like the rich, you need to put money into operation by making money to actually work for you. Then the amount of money that you are willing to put into investment will determine how far you are willing to go. So what we're saying here is that you need to consistently put money into investment. Then another thing is what we call return. Now, the amount of money you have actually put into investment will determine the amount of money you are going to gain as a compound interest at the end of the day. So if you want to gain more, you need to put more money. That's what we're talking about there. Then number three things that make the billionaires to think differently is that they see every setback as a lesson. every setback is actually a lesson. Unlike a lot of people that when they have a setback, they always feel discouraged, they're always in a state of melancholy, they're always in a state of what? Of feeling very dissatisfied with themselves. They begin to blame other people for their shortcomings, they begin to blame the government, they begin to blame their parents, they begin to blame the people in their village and the rest of them. But for the billionaires, every setback is a lesson, because when you learn from your mistake, you avoid your mistake in the future. So for the billionaires, they make mistakes every time, but their mistakes are always a lesson to them. So are you willing to learn from your mistakes, that when you actually fail in life, it's not actually the end of life, it's not actually the state or the time for you to feel melancholy or feel sad because you have a setback, because setbacks are always a lesson. Then number 4 things that billionaires do that makes them to actually think differently from other people is that they are not afraid of what? Of failure. You see, a lot of us are afraid of failure, and that's why we find it difficult to transcend from the level we are to another level. We are always afraid of what? The fear of what? Of changes. Some people are finding themselves in a workplace for about 10 years, 15, 20 years, and they end up retiring that same job because they are always afraid that if they leave that job, what's going to happen next? That is not the concept of life. So you must be a risk taker. You must be willing to take what I call a calculated risk. So what we're saying here is that you must not be afraid of failure. You must not be afraid of what? Of not being successful. Because there is always a price for failure. And what is that price? Success. So success is a price for what? For failure. So when you fail and you fail over again, there's every possibility if you put in and you're able to correct yourself, you can be successful at the end of the day. And when you're successful, you have actually rewarded yourself. And what's that reward? It's a success. So failure is part of what? Of a journey to success. Failure is the part of the journey to success. So you must be willing to make some setbacks. You must be willing to have some mistakes. And when you make these mistakes and you have this failure, you must be able to surpass your failure and overcome your failure. And also what? Reward yourself with what we call success at the end of the day. Because the price for failure is actually success. Then the 15, which the rich do that makes them to think differently from every other person in society, is that they add value to whatever they do. Are you the kind of person that add value to society, or you are not adding any value at all? You see, what will guarantee your reward at the end of the day for the services done to people is your value. Do you have value? The kind of value you create in society, is it the kind of value that people can always look for you every time because of your services? Or your value is intangible, or your value does not have any value at all? So you need to tell yourself that you need to start creating value in society. You need to start creating what people always demand in society, because there are so many things that people actually want in society that are not being provided for them one way or the other. So you need to sit down and think, what can I offer to the society that can actually create value? So when you create value, people will come for your services. And when they come for your services, they are going to pay for your services. And when they are paying for your services, you are actually creating wealth for yourself. And when you are actually what? Getting that money at the end of the day, you are actually investing that money and investing that money and investing that money to create more wealth for you at the end of the day. And that is a simple way which the rich people or billionaires actually think, that makes them different from other people. So you may ask yourself, do I think like them? Do I have these characteristics, or I don't have? Now you can develop these characteristics over time by thinking big, by investing in time, returns, and what? And then money. And you can also do this by also seeing setback as what? As a lesson for yourself. And you can also do this by not being afraid of what? Of failure. And you can also do this by adding value to whatever you're actually doing. So before I round up, there's something I'll add, to what I'm saying before I will actually round up. I could remember sometime, Warren Buffett, one of the greatest investors of our time, actually he was earning a lot of money. And there's this CEO of Coca-Cola that was earning about, I think, $80 million per annum. I think $80 million per annum. And Warren Buffett earned about 700 million as an investor in the Coca-Cola. Now, what am I saying there? What I'm saying there is that boss don't make a lot of money. Those that actually makes a lot of money are actually investors. So if you are a boss, you are not making a lot of money. What will make you to make a lot of money is when you are actually an investor. So if you are a boss, keep thinking like a boss. But if you are an investor, keep thinking like an investor, because those actually make money today in the society we are today, that are actually wealthy, that are actually rich today, are actually the investors, not the boss. So the CEO of Coca-Cola is making about 80 million, and at the end of it, at the end, is making or paying a tax of $37 million. Apart from the fact that he's making 80 million, he's paying a tax of $37 million. While Warren Buffett, that's actually making $700 million, is paying about $20 million as what, as a tax. So you can see the difference there. So boss don't make a lot of money, but investors make a lot of their money. And don't forget that if you're actually an investor, you pay lesser tax. But if you are actually an employee, you pay higher tax. So if you're an investor, you are shielded from taxations. You are shielded from both taxes and taxation. Not that you are not paying tax, but the amount of money you're paying as a tax is reduced to the barest minimum. So what is actually enough for the wise? And I think you have actually gained a lot of things to it. You have actually gained a lot of things to it. It is time now to subscribe to my channel. Leave your comment and share this video to the outside world, because a lot of people actually this video on the secret to wealth creation. So till I see you next time, I remain your humble, loyal, dedicated, pragmatic, innovative, and inventive David Oni. Thank you and God bless you.